having a conversation with a friend the other day about high intensity interval training versus low intensity steady state exercise, HIIT or LISS, if we're using acronyms. What's the difference? What's better? Are there disadvantages and advantages to one or the other? Why did you use the word exercise instead of cardio? Are you stupid? Things like that, right? So here's a quick explanation of HIIT versus LISS. One's aerobic and one is anaerobic. So the longer explanation to this would be aerobic implies oxygen is being used to fuel the workout, right? When you're on a brisk walk or a light jog, if you're on an elliptical for 30, 40 minutes and you didn't have to slow down on a bike or anything where you can sustain for an extended amount of time without having to slow down or stop, you're usually in an aerobic pathway, which is more your low intensity steady state. We're talking like 65% maximum heart rate. Now HIIT is anaerobic, which means without oxygen. So HIIT, high intensity interval training, is primarily fueled through the glycolytic or phosphagen pathways. Brandon, I have no idea what the hell those words mean, and I'm a little frustrated that you're using big words like an ass. Rewrite. My apologies. Basically, you're using your body's inner storages, like your creatine phosphate or your glycogen, which is your muscles stored glucose, basically. You're using those to fuel the exercise in your short, intense bursts of exercise. It's like throwing an extra pile of coal into the train engine. I mean, however, the taxing difficulty and metabolic stress that it puts on you, it dictates your bouts will only last 10 to 90 seconds before having to slow down or stop to recover, because your body is just starving for oxygen, and it's now at an oxygen debt and it needs to catch up. You need to get your wind back. So your heart rate is naturally running much higher during a HIIT bout than a LISS bout. We're talking 80+% maximum heart rate. Now, what's better? What should you be doing? Both. They play off of each other very well. Aerobic training or low intensity steady state training, you're only burning calories from the moment you begin to the moment you end. High intensity interval training, you might not burn as many calories initially during the workout, but because of the metabolic stress that you've put your body under, you will be burning calories further and further and further, and it will be elevated much, much, much longer. So over long term, you're burning more calories and fat doing a high intensity interval training bout because of the demands. Some of the great benefits for low intensity steady state or LISS is heart rate training. I mean, it helps you get a lower resting heart rate. It helps for heart health, period. It's low impact. People that have maybe joint problems or health problems are able to do this one much easier than they would trying to destroy themselves doing a HIIT session. So obviously work within your means. But if we're talking like an aesthetic standpoint here, you want to look good naked. You want to burn as much fat as possible. You want to look lean. It's not even a contest. High intensity interval training is the way to go. Again, let me go back and say that low intensity steady state training will help build your aerobic capacity, however. So in turn, it can help complement your HIIT sessions by having a better aerobic threshold, and you're able to do your HIIT sessions a little more intensely, if that makes sense. But if we're looking at a cross-country runner who basically spends most of their time doing, what we can kind of consider low intensity steady state, just a jogging, something they're super duper used to, as opposed to like an Olympic sprinter who is just lean and jacked and muscular. That's the difference we're talking about here. Both might be lean, but one has the muscle with it. So, I mean, it all depends on what you want. It all depends on what your goals are, right? If you want to be lean and have stringy muscles, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want, then yeah, you're probably going to err on the side of low intensity, steady state training. However, you have to also consider homeostasis. If that is all you do, your body might eventually just get used to it and fight against you and say, well, this is all we need to do. We can stay looking exactly like we look right now and pull this off at the same time. That's why you see a lot of people that do nothing but run, and their physique, their body composition never changes. And they get frustrated because their metabolism knows they only need to run at this level and only this level. So, you know, again, variety is key here. I think you need to be well-rounded. You need to have a good supply of fast twitch muscle fibers, slow twitch muscle fibers, a good aerobic threshold, but a good anaerobic threshold as well. So, like I said, if aesthetics and body composition are what you're going for, you want to look good naked, and most of us want to look good naked, don't try and convince me otherwise. I would prioritize HIIT training. Now, you got to be careful with it, though, because it's very demanding, neurologically demanding. So you could burn out very quickly if you do too much of it. You have to consider, too, if you're doing weight training already, you're lifting moderate to heavy weight a few times a week, that is in itself a form of high-intensity interval training. But if you wanted a more cardio-looking flavor to high-intensity interval training, maybe throw that in twice a week. Still, I would throw in a good 40-45 minutes session of low-intensity steady-state training somewhere in the week. Think active recovery. Think some blood flow. Think doing it maybe not fasted, but maybe with a low amount of carbohydrates in your body so far in that day. You know, let fat be the primary source of fuel for those kinds of workouts. It could be a supplementary fat burner for the day. So program that however you need. You know, a day of low intensity steady state. If you have lots of good energy and you feel like you recover well, maybe that's your rest day. Maybe just 40-45 minutes of very, very low impact, low intensity steady state training, and then 2 days of high intensity interval training. So figure that out. If you want further ideas, you know, you can comment here, you can get with me, message me, ask me more questions. I know that I've probably left some important key things out of what I wanted to convey in this video, so please, questions are always welcome. This video is just a quick education crash course on the difference between the two and what's good and what's not. I appreciate you watching. I hope you got something out of this. Be good to yourself and be good to others. And until next time, go do some HIIT. God, that sucked. It's terrible. Go hit the gym. Listen to what I say. Oh, God. I'm sorry.